Today we've got breaking news about Princess's COVID health protocols for sailings from Greece, news that is not even on the website yet. Also, we've got some more hurricanes forming. What does Princess do with those end of cruise surveys that we submit? Which cruise port would I suggest you do not book a Princess transfer to arrive at, as well as some other things that we need to talk about. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Thursday, it's September 22nd of 2022, and like I said, we've got lots to talk about today. As I said, we have got really exciting news. So on Princess's website, they have updated their protocols for sailings to Greece, and they dated it September 19th. And so it used to say that if you're on a voyage that leaves from Greece, arrives in Greece, or calls in Greece, you were going to have to follow those protocols. Well, now they simply list the protocols if just on voyages departing from Greece. So really, that's just basically from Athens for most voyages. Well, for all Princess voyages. Princess doesn't have voyages departing from anywhere else in Greece. And so anyway, though, one of you lovely Let's Go family members was so kind to send me the update that you received because they are booked on a cruise that's going to be leaving from Athens. So here is the really exciting part. So as we... there are like 4 bullet points, and it's first of all, since your voyage visits Greece, guests 5 years and above must be fully vaccinated and up to date. And that means that you need to have your if you're 18 and over, if you qualify for a booster, you need to have that booster within 9 months. And they require that if you are ages 5 to 17, you don't have to have a booster to be considered fully vaccinated. You just have to have received the vaccine. If you're ages 18 and older, you need to have the booster to be considered fully vaccinated. And they do put in also the reminder to upload your vaccine record into the Medallion Class app. That is right there at the very first part of the app when you're trying to get travel ready to sail. And I'll remind Gordon to help me and get that recorded so that we could show you how to do that. It is super easy. Mine is already uploaded, but I could walk you through the steps to get where you need to be and just kind of how it works. So I'll do that. Now, the next thing, here's the exciting thing. It says, fully vaccinated guests are not required to test. That is really exciting. It doesn't even say that on their website yet. On their website, it still says that you have to do an antigen test within 2 days or a PCR within 3 days. So this is really awesome news. It takes so much stress out. Now, it says guests that are ages 5 and older who are not vaccinated need an exemption, and you are going to have to still do the test. You're going to have to do an antigen within 2 days or a PCR test within 3 days. And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody is really clear on that. I think it's great news that you're not going to have to be tested if you're fully vaccinated. That takes away, like I said, so much stress of worrying about where you're going to get to, how you're going to get the test, and everything that goes with that. So that is remarkable. Thank you. And you know what? In the notice that they sent me, it does not talk about the testing having to be done in person. And so make sure that if you are going to be sailing on one of these cruises that leaves from Greece and you're not vaccinated, on Princess's website, it says you do need to do the test in person, but I would verify that. And I'm sure that if you're not vaccinated, they're going to be sending you a separate letter. And so we would really appreciate hearing about that too. And if you are sailing on another cruise line other than Princess from Greece, we would really like to hear what they're requiring as well. The next thing that I wanted to let you know is we've got Let's Go family members who are going to be going on a Panama Canal cruise right at the beginning of January of 2023. And you might recall the Panama Canal cruises used to be on that enhanced voyages list requiring the booster, extra testing, all of this. And now it says, we continue to refine our guidelines for these voyages and wanted to advise that fully vaccinated guests on your voyage are no longer required to be tested. And so they do remind you that in order to be considered fully vaccinated on the Panama Canal cruise, you just need to be vaccinated at least by the time it's 14 days from when you sail. They are not including a booster requirement on that. They do want you to remember, as well as they always say, to upload your vaccine record into the Medallion Class app. And then it says unvaccinated guests are welcome to cruise and must provide a negative test, a PCR or an antigen test within 3 days prior to sailing. So that's wonderful. And so clearly on the Panama Canal sailings, if you're not vaccinated, you don't have to ask for an exemption. Then we've got another wonderful Let's Go family member who is going to be sailing on a Transatlantic on Holland America, and she said that they have also dropped their testing requirement. They say that we highly recommend all guests be up to date on their vaccination status. Vaccinations, however, are not required. Fully vaccinated guests are not required to take a COVID test before embarkation. And if you are unvaccinated and you are ages 5 and older, you're going to need to do a PCR test within 3 days of embarkation, or and also an antigen test within 3 days of embarkation. And those, it says, they do need to be medically observed or self-administered, so you can do either one. So that's great. That takes away a little bit more worry right there. So thank you all for sending me those updates. They are so valuable, and especially that sometimes they're a little bit different than what it says on the website. So I'm really excited. Thank you very much. Now, I also wanted to talk to you about the surveys that we do, and I forgot to tell you this from my call the other day. Now, people, as often when you get to the end of a Princess cruise, you receive a survey in your email, and so Gordon and I usually fill it out. I'll be on, you know what, in at the one in Europe, I never got to it. The one that we just did. To the Mediterranean, I didn't get around to it, but Gordon did his. He's very good at always doing that, and I usually do mine. But anyway, when I was talking to the nice person I spoke with from Princess, she said that they have not been replying to those. She said that it used to be that if they read one and people weren't quite pleased with their experience, they'd pick up the phone and call them and talk to them about it. They said right now they just don't have the people to do that. She said they do look at them, though, and the main thing they do with them is they tally. You know how they always ask the question, would you recommend Princess Cruises to your family and friends? That is like the biggest thing they look at. So if you answer yes or no, they tally that, and that is what they go on. And so I would say, even if you're disheartened, you've not gotten a reply to some emails that, surveys that you've submitted before, when whether or not you were pleased with your experience, definitely fill those out, and definitely say if you would refer to people, because if you wouldn't, I think that's a good way to give them some feedback. So there's a heads up about that. And if any of you have heard back about any of the surveys that you have sent in lately, we'd love to hear about it. Now, I saw early on the news this morning that, we are very well aware that we've got Hurricane Fiona, and she dumped so much rain there in Puerto Rico. I have a good friend that her parents live there, and she was saying it just rained, and they have already gotten so much rain this year that the ground was already saturated. So when more rain came, there was a lot more flooding. And but Fiona is moving on. She is now on her way to give trouble there in Bermuda. But also, in addition to that, there are a couple of other big storms forming. So I just wanted to tell you what they are really quickly. And so if you are on a cruise that is going to go to any of these areas, let us know if you hear anything from the cruise lines about changes in itinerary. And I just wanted also to make you aware of what's going on a little bit. It says that there is a tropical storm Gaston formed Tuesday in the central Atlantic, and so they've got a tropical storm warning has been issued for the Azores, and it moves closer to it's going to move closer to some other Caribbean islands. And then so the main islands that it says that are going to be affected by that, it's going to go to the ABC Islands, some of the southeastern Caribbean islands, and down into more of South America tonight, so Thursday. So let me know if you're on one of these cruises and anything happens. I just thought it was valuable information there. Now we need to talk about the cruise port that I would suggest, just based on everything that I've heard in the comments and several emails. Like, I would be very hesitant to book a Princess transfer from LaGuardia down to the port. It sounds like they have outsourced this, and the people that are managing it are not managing it well. I shared the story the other day of people that just barely, there were like 200 to 300 people. She wasn't sure. She said it was so many people waiting at LaGuardia to get on the transfers to get down to the ship to sail out of New York. And they finally, what did she say, like at 2:30 or 3 before the ship sailed at 5, they finally said, yeah, the buses aren't coming to pick y'all up. So then everybody is scrambling to get an Uber or a taxi. So if I were going to be going there and I were going to be sailing out, I would go on TripAdvisor or ask someone I know that knows a good car service, and I would book myself a car service to take me from LaGuardia Airport or from my hotel. I would fly in the night before if it was me, and take me down to the port. That is so much more reliable. Now, I have only been to New York City, right down to Manhattan in the city one time. But when my daughter and I flew in, we really did hire a car service off of TripAdvisor. We read one. We found one that has excellent reviews. And if you want me to, put it in the comments and I'll find who it was. They had been in business for a long time. They were right there to pick us up at JFK and took us right to our hotel right down by Times Square. Very, very nice driver. And in fact, afterwards, he was so kind that I requested the same driver to take us back to the airport at the end of the trip. He was there on time. Lovely, lovely experience. So that is what I would do if I were trying to book travel to get from LaGuardia or JFK down to the cruise port. I would not rely in New York on the Princess transfers. Now, several of you commented that somebody said that they had trouble with a transfer in Miami earlier this year. Now, I know Princess doesn't cruise out of Miami, so it wasn't Princess. So if anybody else can comment on that, let us know, because I think this would be a really good resource to kind of keep us all up to date on where there's any trouble with things like this. Because I think I've mentioned Gordon and I have taken Princess transfers on almost every cruise we've been on, and we have never had a hiccup. It has been a smooth, wonderful experience every time. So it does cause me a little bit distress to hear that people have had trouble with it. Now, our next cruise is out of Los Angeles. That Gordon and I are going on the Love Boat cruise there. I hope he's coming with me, but I'm going. And so we have booked the Princess transfers to get from LAX down. We are going to fly in the night before, stay at the hotel, take it back to LAX, and get on that transfer. Now, at LAX, the really nice thing to know is, well, for one thing, we have the luxury of sailing on a Saturday, so the traffic is not as bad. Traffic can still be bad across Los Angeles, though, no matter what day of the week you're on. But when you're in there at LAX, if you haven't been there, is huge. It is like huge. And you know what? To get a taxi or an Uber there is not hard. I've done that before on other travels, not on a cruise, and it's very easy to get one there because there are so many. And so when we go, if we get there and things are not going to go smoothly, I'm not going to wait until we're a couple of hours from sailing. I'm going to go ahead and just say, okay, forget it. We're not going to do that. And we're going to get an Uber and go, or a taxi. And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows to think about things like that. And if that situation happens to you, when you get on board, talk to them about it right then. Get them to credit that back to your account, because it's so much easier than trying to get somebody at customer service to do it once you're home. So that's everything that I have for you today. If you have other things that you would like me to talk about, other things that you think it would help everyone, would you please put that in the comments below or send me an email? And if you want to take advantage of that celebrity deal, send me an email on that as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We really do need you in our Let's Go family. And I appreciate your help. Give this video a thumbs up if you appreciate these updates. I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.